If you're like me, you've had some bad experiences recently with the post office delivering your mail, constantly wanting to upcharge you on postage, returning mail. I have some information from a postal processing worker that I think you'll find very interesting. Yo, 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 YouTube, and welcome back to the Dollar Box. I've got a great video today. There's been some recent upticks in mail getting returned. I want to start out this video by stating that this isn't a us versus the post office situation. This is us working with the post office. I've said many times how appreciative I am for the postal system and all that they do for us. Think about it. We take a card, we put it in a holder, we put it in an envelope and pay 64 cents, and they do the rest. They track it, they scan it, they deliver it. If there's a problem with it, we can file a claim, all that stuff. That's invaluable. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without them. So my point in this whole video is to work with them. Let's find the best way that we can get this all done. We all have the same goal. They want us to mail items. We want to mail items. We want our customers to have a positive experience. So with that, let's look into what we can do with the mail system to operate most efficiently. Let's discuss this and find some ways where we can avoid some of these issues in the future. I've gotten messages from some of you, the viewers, and a few customers who haven't gotten mail on time, and obviously I've gotten some chunks of mail sent back to me that are asking for more postage. And so I wanted to discuss the eBay standard envelope requirements a little bit, the view of the postal employees that are processing these transactions, and then also our input and our view and what we can do to be successful in shipping our cards through standard envelope. I also have a nice stack of orders, so we'll do some of those to break the video up a little bit as usual. Hope you enjoy it. The first thing we want to talk about is, what is eBay Standard Envelope? So eBay Standard Envelope is a program that eBay and the Postal Service have agreed upon, whereas we will pay the commercial mail rate, which is currently 64 cents for postage. They will provide tracking through an internal eBay Postal Service tracking system, so you can't track that through USPS or anything, only on eBay itself. And you can ship one card and one top load. That's what the verbiage says in the eBay standard envelope. But really the basic standards are, it must be a certain size envelope, and it can only be up to a 1/4 inch thick, which is really more than a top loader. This is an agreement between the Postal Service and eBay. However, the postal employees don't see it the same way that we do. So the first thing I found out was that not all postal employees are familiar with this agreement with eBay. Either they were informed of this and they just don't care, or they don't remember it, or there's just too much else going on, especially with mail moving as fast as they try to make it move. But a lot of them just don't understand that this is available and that they need to process these envelopes per that agreement. So let's take a look at our first sale. It's a bunch of Brady base cards, so we gotta love that. We've got a 2019 Absolute, a 2019 Donruss, the retro look, a 2021 Score, which is where the algorithm hit to get this sale. I've sold pretty much all of these. I have one left. I started with like 7 or 8 a week ago, and they just got gobbled up. Another 21 Score, so hopefully this one catches fire because I got a few copies of those. And then 21 Donruss, same thing, another base card that I have a lot of. These 5 cards sold for $16.95. So what I've done up to this point to ship that many cards is 5 cards in a card saver with my business card in the small envelope with a label over the top. And I've had thousands and thousands of packages like this delivered. So I received some information from a postal processor in a sorting part of the facility. Basically what she told me is that many of the employees just don't understand the eBay standard envelope program, or even are aware that it exists. So what happens when you drop off your mail is it goes to a processing area of the post office, the main hub post office, back room area behind the counters and everything, where that mail gets dumped and then it goes through a sorting machine. So the biggest thing with that is it goes up and around and through a bunch of loops and hoops, and that's where the concern gets with the mail not being flexible. So they're stating that your piece of mail should be able to be bent in half in order to go through that sorter, or it'd be considered non-machinable, and then an additional 43 cents postage would be required. I actually don't disagree with that. If the mail cannot safely go through that machine, it should not go through that machine. Consequently, you don't want something that's going to break the machine or cause it to stop, and then that adds to delays and other things with other mail. However, where the real problem comes in, and from what my conversation has told me, is that when those processors pull those pieces of mail out that clearly won't be able to be bent in half and go through those loop machines, they're not supposed to stamp it for additional postage. They're supposed to forward it on because it's paid through the eBay standard envelope program, and you follow the rules. It was under that thickness, it was under the size limits for the envelope, it was under the weight and all that, and they're supposed to just throw it in as like a pre-sorted item, for example, or a non-machinable item, and just pass it along and not get charged the postage, which is what we'll see as the result most of the time we're sending our envelopes to our customers. Let's take a look at our next sale, and it's two 1955 Bowman vintage cards. So we've got this Max Boydston card here from the Chicago Cardinals, and Daryl Brewster from the Cleveland Browns. And those sold. This one sold for $4.99. This one sold for $2.50. It's been trimmed, noted in the listing, of course, so the customer knows. And the trimmed one sold for $2.50, and the untrimmed one sold for $4.99. All right, so that seems to be where our problem is. The standard envelope program hasn't been communicated very well to the postal employees. We're maybe stretching the rules a little bit to try to get as much out as we can, being our margins are slimmer. All right, so something's kind of getting lost in the middle here. We're maybe stretching the rules a little bit to try to get this mail out to our customers and get them cards at the right prices. And the post office is maybe not really understanding or following their end of the agreement with eBay and trying to make the process more complicated. Our next sale is an SP Jeter base card from 2004 SP. I've sold a few of these lately, and that sold for $2.50. So what can we do to make this better going forward? There's some things we can do on our end to help. The obvious answer for all parties involved, as far as mail not getting rejected, would be to run everything hand sort, non-machinable. But that's going to cost you. So I don't really believe that is a great solution. Why should we just pay more because the Postal Service doesn't understand the program? Next sale is a fun one. This is a Ren and Stimpy header card from the Nickelodeon card set. I got these for free. I bought a bunch of Ren and Stimpy, the hologram set cards or prism cards, whatever you want to call them. And some of these came with it. And this sold for $4. So one of the first things I decided to do, I'm doing this already, was to split up my mail to a couple different drop locations. That solves a couple things. First, you're less likely to have one get in the machine and everything gets pulled off. You're also less likely to run into an employee that doesn't understand the program and scoops up all the mail and sends it back to you. Now, last month, I had 94 envelopes returned to me, actually be just held at my post office for me to go pick up because they wanted 43 cents postage on each one of those envelopes. I wasn't going to do that. There was no way they all fit into the program. Many of them were a single thinner card inside a card saver. That's as slim as you're going to get when trying to ship a card, other than just shipping it loose. You would never want to do that. So what I did was I reprinted all the postage labels because they stamped on all of them, and I dropped them all back off, and they all went through just fine. Next sale is a Michael Vick base card, 2003 Upper Deck patch. Sold for $1.99. Another thing we can do on our end is just to educate your local postal employees. Inform them of the eBay standard envelope program and what it means, and make sure that everybody's on the same page on what you can and cannot send. Got a couple Pac-Man sticker orders. Here's the first one. This sticker says, "I'm eating everything in sight," with Pac-Man with some nice googly eyes there. This one sold for $2.99. The next thing we can do is look at making that mail at least as flexible as possible, and maybe being able to bend in half at some point. Now, I know some sellers use the business size envelopes when they send even just one card. I like to use the number 9 slightly smaller envelopes. One of the main reasons is they're cheaper. I buy a lot of envelopes, send a lot of mail, and I really want to save that money everywhere that I can. So that's the main reason for that. However, if you do take the business envelope, put a card in it, the theory is, well, it can still bend in half, right? So it should still be able to loop through the machine. That may be true, but I've sent thousands of cards in those smaller envelopes and have had no issue. The other thing is, even though the standard envelope rules state you can send a card in a top load, might be better to try to send your cards in card savers. Now this one I will be changing to, most likely. My customers want top loads. It's the reason I've stuck by it as long as I have, but they also want to receive their cards. So we got to try to find some sort of common ground here. I do not mind switching to these because I fit more cards in them. I'm using these about half the time at this point anyway, because I don't get as many single card orders as I used to. Uh, and they're about the same cost. Maybe a half a penny difference in between these two at times, depending on what the deals are out there. Now, that being said, when I have piles of top loads like I have right now because I got them with cards, I'm going to use them for shipping. Free shipping materials is valuable. And the eBay standard rules do say you can ship one card in a top load. So I'm going to use that when I have them. When I need to order supplies and pay for supplies, I'm going to buy card savers. Next sale is one of my favorite card insert sets. This is Elite Spellbound. This is Justin Jefferson, the pink parallel. This card is for the first F in his name. Yes, they have two different cards for the same letter, and names that have multiple letters in it, multiple copies of a letter. And this sold for $6. I got this at the Eau Claire card show. It was $4 marked down to $2, and then with my bulk discount, I probably paid like a buck and a quarter, buck and a half, something like that. We'll end this video with a few more sales. This next one is another Pac-Man sticker. This one is Waka 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 Gulp, and it sold for $2.99. This next card is a card I find often and I've sold several times before. You find it a lot in 10-cent boxes, 25-cent boxes, or even cheaper. And it's this Jerry Stackhouse Fleer metal insert card. It's called Stackhouse's Scrapbook. There's a couple different cards in the set. This one happens to be card S7, if you can see that on the bottom there. And what's significant of this is, of course, that he is guarding Michael Jordan. So that's something that you always want to look for on cards, is if Jordan's on it, LeBron's on it, Kobe's on it. Even if the main player of the card is not a big seller, you'll get some Jordan buyers. And this sold for $3.99. This next sale is a great example of how eclectic my sales have become. I've got a buyer who bought 2 Tyreek Hill cards, a 21 Contenders draft, and a 21 Elite, or 2017 Elite, excuse me. Also bought a Hellboy promo card and a Star Wars Return of the Jedi Emperor's Offer card. And those 4 sold for $10.28. The buyer also bought a Henry Winkler Hollywood Stars card and a Shaggy Scooby-Doo base card that I picked up out of a quarter box in Madison. And those 2 sold for $5.98. Next card is another vintage football. This is Verlin Biggs, 1970 tops, and this sold for $2.99. I did just buy a big lot of 60s and 70s football, probably mainly commons, but I got 600 cards for $100. So I'll be getting that in the mail shortly. I'm hoping to find a few gems in there. But this stuff sells all the time. Been listing more basketball recently with the attention coming off of the NFL and getting to the NBA, and it's resulted in more sales. I have a 4-card basketball order here. I've got a Dennis Rodman Block Party card. This Chris Paul Red Wave, I got this for free in my big box of free cards from the Eau Claire show. A Daniel Marshall Block Party card. I've had this forever. I think I got, there's a big lot of basketball common stuff I bought a while ago. I kept the inserts from it and listed them. This was part of that. And then a Shaquille O'Neal Fleer Metal Nuts and Bolts card. And these 4 cards sold for $5.50. Next sale is a good old Favre base card. It's this 98 Flair Showcase. Been selling a bunch of these lately. And this sold for $1.99. I only have 6 left, so I'm probably going to be raising the price on this one. Got a nice 8-card Jeter order here and a single Cal Ripken Jr. card to the same buyer. Cal Ripken card sold for $2.99. It's this his Heritage Series, yeah, through Topps, or through Leaf, excuse me, 1992. And then we've got a Leaf Signature Series Jeter, 97 Donruss Signature. The Sports Illustrated for Kids, or the Sports Illustrated set, I should say, from Fleer. This is the Doubleheader Mini, and that's from 2003 Fleer. A 97 Donruss base. 96 Pinnacle Zenith, this roll call card, and it's upside down. And a Donruss Elite insert out of 97 Donruss. And last but not least, and this is 95, I think, yep, 1995 Emotion. Another Fleer set, I believe. And those sold for $14. Next order is a 5-card vintage Star Wars order. We've got Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett's Last Stand. We've got Forest of Ender, also from Return of the Jedi. And we've got one Red Series 2, and it's Ben with the lightsaber. And a couple of Han Solo yellow ones from the 3rd series. We've got Solo Aims for Trouble, and we got Harrison Ford as Han Solo. And those sold for $17.95. Next sale is a nice Tom Brady base card. 2014 Topps Chrome for $9.99. Sold 2 Favre 1996 Fleer Ultra Sensations cards, the gold base, the gold border one, and the blue border one. The blue one sold for $1.99 and the gold sold for $2.50. Sold a Matthew Stafford card. This I pulled out of a quarter box, I believe, at the Madison show. So probably paid 18 to 20 cents for it. And this sold for $2.99. It's a 2015 Prestige Shield die cut. So it's like an acetate card with this pretty cool looking card. That's why I bought it. Sold a 1989 Fleer Nolan Ryan base card, $2.99. Sold a 1986 Topps Football Richard Dent card for $1.99. And the last one I'm going to show today is a Michael Jackson sticker card. This is the letter S when dressed up as a clown. That was a thing he did for $1.89. All right, I got a few more sales to ship out, but I don't want to make this video too long. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Please comment down below if you have any opinions about the mail system and the eBay standard delivery and your thoughts on it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to see future videos. Ring the bell to be notified when those videos are posted. And of course, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, Wednesday evenings, my live with Stuart and Charlie, Stuart the Goat. Can't miss Stuart the Goat. And we're going to start getting into some more guests. So I don't want to announce anything yet, but we're going to look at having some guests on from time to time to sort of spice up the episodes a little bit. We'd love to have you on there live. We get a nice chat going, and it's a lot of fun. That's it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you